Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back for another video. Let's talk about the priorities in the golf swing. What we should prioritize in the golf swing, in the movement, when we want to play better golf. In most cases, for a lot of amateur golfers, structure is the most important thing. Structure, because it will improve the predictability of your golf swing. Structure, not flow, not fluidity, not power. A lot of times when I work with players for the first time, they say, I feel very robotic. Well, that's okay, because you get flow, you get fluidity, because things are too wiggly, okay? They're like an octopus. You see what I'm doing here? There's no structure. Everything's just moving on its own. It's a free-for-all. We don't want that. But that's how most amateur golfers get their flow, because it's just things moving. But that's not good, because things are not moving in a predictable manner. Things are not moving in a way that's that you can repeat more often than not. What we want for that demographic of golfer is structure. We want it to be rigid. We want it to feel like a robot, because the more robotic you feel, chances are the more engaged your muscle parts are, and chances are the firmer you are, the more robotic you are, the less moving parts there are. That will all increase the likelihood of you being able to repeat something, so that your ball flights are more predictable, more consistent, more playable. So how I like to do that, I always say, I want rigidness. I want things to move together. I want your arms to move with your torso turn. Everything stops together, wrists firm, arms firm, no wrist hinge. If we just firmly turn back, everything stops, and then firmly turn through, we're at least going to have the structural part good. If your structural part is good, then you can go on to thinking about club path. How do you want to bring your club into the ball? Do you want to be inside out? Do you want to be outside in? Do you want to play draws? Do you want to play fades? Chances are, how I've seen it for most amateur golfers, draws are usually the way to go, because it promotes better habits. Draws are the way to go because chances are, for you to hit a draw, you need more depth in the downswing, and if you have depth in the downswing, we can eventually have that flow into building flow and fluidity and power, okay? So if you have structure, then you can think about delivery. How we want to deliver the club to be more inside out is if what we do is loop this robotic structure, this robotic arm unit back behind you while maintaining structure. You can see I'm not just tipping things back. I'm not being loose in transition. I want things to still be robotic, but I'm forcing this structure, this piece back behind us, so that we come from the inside. We're probably going to hit some draws, okay? So you got structure, you got the direction of the movement. Then if you can get both those things right, you can repeat it, you're seeing yourself hit better shots, then maybe you can add a little bit more flow and fluidity to it, okay? How we add flow and fluidity, you might have heard people say, oh, I feel like I start my downswing just before I finish my backswing. All that's good if your structure stays in place, okay? All that's good if your wrist structure, your arm structure is still firm, and you don't start losing things. You don't start breaking down. The last thing I want you to do is, in an effort to create separation and flow, you start your downswing before you finish your backswing. You then start breaking things apart, okay? That's not good. That's not how we want to create flow. I still want you to have that good firm structure, the width, the wrist structure. Keep everything the same. If you can do that, then you can try to create some flow. And if you can do that, then we can try to eventually add power to it by pushing off the ground harder, by trying to turn harder. But you really got to make sure you prioritize what's best for you and your development, okay? If you're someone who's shooting in the hundreds, you want to get better, you have to embrace being robotic. Robotic rigidness is probably going to help you more than hurt, as opposed to feeling flow and fluidity right now, okay? You're not at that stage yet to being in the driver's seat to try to have flow and fluidity in your golf swing. So hope that helps. Hope that makes sense in helping you guys prioritize changes for the off season. For most of us here in Canada, we have 3-4 months to go. Structure first, then the direction of your movement, and then you can maybe add flow and fluidity, and then eventually power into your golf swings. But for most people, structure is king. If you can have good structure, regardless if you hit it 10 yards less, or regardless if you feel robotic, those are all short-term things. You can eventually work on that later, but structure is always going to be there for you. So hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. Any questions, leave in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, guys.